Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to a first for the channel. It's a discussion video. Now, I've done a lot of live streams and stuff on this channel before, but I've never actually got a guest on here to just do a discussion on a certain franchise or something like that. So it is a first. And I've got my good friend Paul Tambs on here, who I have been on live streams and stuff with in the past on my older channel, and when he had a channel and stuff. I thought, I think Paul's been rewatching these this month, this week, leading up to the new release of MaXXXine. I thought he might be the perfect guest to get on here. I always like listening to Paul on when he's on other podcasts and stuff. So I thought he'd be the perfect person to ask. So Paul, before we get into it, mate, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, man. Yeah, been having a blast this week rewatching X and Pearl. I haven't rewatched them since around they both come out, so it was good to have a catch up with them. MaXXXine was a movie I was just itching to see. I've been itching to see it all year, and it felt like it was taking forever to come round. I remember that whole week leading up to that Friday just felt like so long because it was the only film I was looking forward to seeing all week, and we're finally seeing it. And we'll discuss it shortly, but yeah, it's 3 for 3 for me.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think at the start of the year, I'd done a top 10 most anticipated video, and it was number one. I did recently do a top 10 and most anticipated films for the rest of the year. It came in at 2 only because that Alien Romulus trailer was so good. But I was still, it was a very thin line. It was like 51-49, which one I was looking forward to the most. And this trilogy has been great. I mean, we'll discuss the trilogy as a whole probably more at the end, but it kind of came out of nowhere because we got X coming to the cinema at like April, March time in 2022. And it was a movie that's just kind of, there's a new horror movie coming out. And then everyone went and watched it and they said, oh yeah, there's another one coming in a few months. And we were like, what? Oh yeah, and there's another one in a year or two that's going to be a trilogy. And everyone was like, what the hell's going on here? This is like unheard of. So it was a bit of a unique thing for this trilogy to come out, I feel, in such a quick succession. And for all 3 movies to have something a little bit different about them, that's what I love about it the most. But yeah, I rewatched Pearl and X this week. First time I've rewatched them since the cinema. And I've got to be honest, they actually improved on rewatch. Like, I loved them the first time, but I like them even better now. And there's little things I was noticing here and there about them. Just before we get into it, guys, I will say this, we probably are going to talk spoilers here. Yeah. So if you haven't seen MaXXXine and you don't want that spoiled, when we get to MaXXXine, it's probably best switching the video off and coming back. Now, if you're only here for the MaXXXine spoiler discussion or whatever, I'll leave little timestamps down below. So I'll leave a timestamp for X, a timestamp for Pearl, and a timestamp for MaXXXine. But if you are here watching the whole video, I hope you all enjoy it. So basically, we're going to start with X, really, aren't we? That's the best place to start. I mean, I know Pearl is set before X, but we'll go in release order. So, yeah. Paul, when you first seen this movie X, what were your first thoughts? And did you have any feelings about it going into it before you seen it?
Yeah, so if I can remember correctly, I think it got like an earlier release in the cinema. I think it was shown at a festival. I remember Twitter, well, X, if you want to call it now, no pun intended, was blowing up about this movie. People were just saying, this is the next big horror film of the year, and everyone was raving about it. Mia Goth was getting raved about in it. And it was a film that I was very excited about because of that. I loved the trailers. But I will admit, the first time I watched it and walked out, I was slightly conflicted. I just found it a bit weird, bit of a weird film. Like, I love the setting. I love the 70s grindhouse Texas Chainsaw vibe, which is prominent and obvious what Ty West was going for, that sort of style of film. But the thing with the old people and they're having sex on the bed and stuff, I was just like, this is a weird ass film, this. But I just couldn't take my eyes off it. Like, the performances were captivating, the location, the where it's set was captivating, the kills were great. It was a great ensemble cast of characters that when I rewatched it, I just gelled to them even more. It's just a well-rounded horror film that wears its inspiration on its sleeve. All 3 of these films wear their inspiration on their sleeve. It's very prominent. It's very obvious what they're doing. And when you've grew up watching different eras of horror films, you can appreciate what they're going for when they're sort of trying to recapture that magic of bygone eras of horror movies. Yeah, so the first time I watched X in its entirety, the very first time I walked out going, I enjoyed it, but I was a bit, I thought, I was like, this is a weird film. And I felt it was slightly overhyped. Then it come out on Blu-ray and I bought it and rewatched it. I was like, and all them sort of, this film's weird, just went away. I was just like, it is a fucked up, weird movie, but I love it. Like, it's just batshit crazy. Love the setting. As a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the movie, and I know you're a big fan of that movie. I believe it's your favorite horror film of all time.
It is.
We were just in the right wheelhouse for that movie. Do you know what I mean? It was speaking to us because of being fans of them sort of movies. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great. I'm not going to say directional debut because Ty West had done previous films, but it was the one that sort of put the stamp on him. It was the one that everyone started knowing his name, and as well as Mia Goth and Jenny Ortega even was in it, who wasn't as big then as she is now. She's blew up since that, but that she played a great role in it as well. So yeah, great start to a great trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I kind of loved it. It was in my top 10 movies, not just horror movies, but movies of 2022. I think I had it like 7th or something. Might have been my favourite horror of the year. Can't quite remember what else come out that year now. But I just love, like, you say, the 70s, Texas Chainsaw Massacre sort of style that it was going for. I mean, they're even in like the same sort of camper van, aren't they? Yeah. That they are in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it just nailed that decade. Like, it just felt like it was pulled straight from, down the road where that movie was made, if you like. And what I love about it, when you're saying about the characters, I think this is what sets it apart from other slasher movies, because I do feel like slashers struggle with one of the biggest things they struggle about is the characters, because they're just mostly there with no personality, or they're kind of annoying and you can't wait for them to be killed, and they are killed off very quickly. But I think this movie, I don't think anything really happens kill wise until about an hour in, and we are already getting to know these characters, and they are so fun to be around. Like, each one of them has got personality. Brittany Snow is so fun in this movie. You got Kid Cudi, who kind of steals the show a little bit. I thought
I didn't even know that was Kid Cudi till about the second or third time I watched the film. I was like, holy shit, it is. I must have just missed his name in the credits.
Yeah, well, I remember walking out the cinema and I went, let me just see who all these cast members are. And I'm like, Kid Cudi, what? And he's excellent in it. He really is. I love the guy who's like the producer, or he's financing the movie. I wrote his name down here because I forgot. And it's Martin Henderson. I haven't wrote many notes down, but I had to write his name down because I knew I'd forget it. But yeah, he's great. I just love the accents they've got and everything. Just a real deep Southern film, and it's all about basically them trying to propel themselves forward, isn't it? It's not just MaXXXine, it's the lot of them, because Martin Henderson has got this idea in his head that this is all going to take off. And I like the start of the movie. I picked up on this the second time around, but when they are sort of setting off from the trailer at the start and Mia Goth jumps in the van, you see them driving away from like a rural town where there's like power plants and stuff, and like the smoke coming out the power plant, and it looks like they've come from like a very hard working town, but they don't want that life. They're going to pursue something else. And I just picked up on that little thing there, what Ty West done on the second time around. I thought that was a nice little touch. But yeah, and it's like I love being around all these characters. Even Jenna Ortega, she's got a small role in it, but I mean, not a small role, but it's not. She's usually the star, isn't she? And she's more of a side sort of character in this. And what I like about it, you don't really know MaXXXine, or Mia Goth, should I say, is the star of this movie until like the last 20, 30 minutes, because they all share the screen time, and they're all just, like I said, fun to be around. So yeah, that's what I love about it. I think it's my strongest point about the film is the characters. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. When it gets into the sort of third act, when it goes a little bit into the kills and stuff, I think it's really fun as well. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the kills are brutal. Like the kills are top notch for this sort of movie. They're quite exploitive in a way, not over the top, but they're just like in your face sort of kills. But you are right; it's a bit of a slow burn of a start movie. It's not slow as in it's boring. It's just that you're just hanging out with these characters, making porn, and they're all just having a laugh, drinking beers and playing guitar and just having a laugh. And then we're quickly introduced to Pearl and her husband. You just know something's off of them. Like straight away, they're just eerie characters, and you just know something's off and something's going to kick off at some point. And when it happens, it just sort of happens out the blue. It's like you don't expect it to happen, and then it just from then on. So that is literally like just over the hour mark or something like that. And from then on, it's just full on for like until the credits start rolling. So it sort of lures you into a false sense of security, sort of in a way with the movie where you're watching a horror film, these characters are going to die, but the movie just keeps teasing when it's going to happen, and then it hits, and then it just doesn't stop until the credits start rolling.
Yeah,
but I really like the what kill is it? It's with the pitchfork in the barn. That's probably my favorite kill in the film.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that one because earlier on, he's so excited when they made this porno, isn't he? That he's like, these people's eyes are going to pop out of their damn skulls when they see this. And then that's exactly what happens too with the pitchfork. Like, pulls his eyes out with it. I didn't get onto that until I rewatched it this week. So, again, another little clever touch there, I think. But Mia Goth also plays Pearl in this. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you can just tell it there. But I even on this rewatch, I couldn't. Could you?
I didn't know it was her till after the fact. Well, because that was sort of like once you'd seen the movie and you were talking about it online, people started bringing that up. It's Mia Goth playing two dual roles. Didn't pick on it at all. I knew it was someone playing an old woman. I knew it wasn't an old woman just because of the. No, I'm not saying the prosthetics are bad, but you can tell it's makeup. Like no old person looks like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I knew it was someone in makeup, but didn't know it was Mia Goth. And after finding that out, that rewatch was so much better. Just watching her do these dual roles, because even at times they are slightly similar characters. She is doing two complete different roles, and sometimes they're sharing the screen together. Obviously, it's done with CGI and overlaps and stuff like that. But it's just clever how she switches roles in one scene. It's really I loved it. I love that is a part of the film, that she is playing the final girl and potentially the killer. Like I don't think that's ever been done before in a horror film, where the final girl and the killer is played by the same person. That's genius.
Yeah, man, I haven't even thought about that till you said it. That's a really good point there. I want to mention the alligator as well, or the crocodile, whatever you want to call it. It sort of takes inspiration again from another Tobe Hooper movie, Eaten Alive. I don't know if you've seen that one, Paul, but it's basically about this guy who's got a pet alligator and he feeds people to it.
I can't remember you doing a video on it.
Yeah, it was one of the first reviews I've done on this channel. It's okay. It's not a great movie, but I just felt like he took a bit of inspiration from that as well. And it's just weird that there's this, like, the old couple don't even warn them that it's there, do they?
It's like the pet, though, isn't it? It's like they have it as a pet. They, like, call it over and stuff.
Yeah. And I've got to say, I think my favourite kill in the entire film is Brittany Snow's character, obviously, when she gets pushed into the lake by Pearl and the alligator just chomps her up, man. That's what it's just got that added little bit of extra to it with the crocodile in the back and stuff like that. But I mean, there's not a lot to delve into. It is basically just a slasher movie, but they're going to make a porno, which sets it up to be a little bit different. But basically, I mean, it's got a good ending as well. I love the way she just like steamrolls over Pearl's head there and into bits. She just drives off into the sunset. Like, but I think anything else to say on X, Paul? Like I said, it's probably the most straightforward movie, I think.
It is, but I will say about it is we're living in an age now where movies are being made and directors are being directly influenced by movies they grew up with. And I love these sort of movies where you can tell they're wearing their inspiration on the sleeves, because as a movie fan, you've grew up with these movies and now you're watching movies that are inspired by movies that you grew up watching. And I just love it whenever any director does that. You know, Tarantino's well known for doing it. Anytime a director can pull inspiration from what they love you can tell that who's making the film is just a fan of movies. He's like you and me. He's just a fan of movies. He just knows how to make movies. We don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I love about it. And I will probably repeat that throughout the next two films as well, because like I said, they wear the inspiration on the sleeves, and he does it throughout this trilogy. So yeah, it's a great horror film, great slasher, probably one of the best of the decade, easy. It's just memorable, and it just come out of nowhere and just punched you in the face, punched the horror community in the face, just literally just landed on the desk out of nowhere. And it was what a great sort of introduction to a trilogy of horror films.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that, mate. One thing I did want to say, actually, do you think it's a little bit of a weird moment where Jenna Ortega wants to be in the movie, or do you think that's a good? I'm a little bit scratching my head over that part. I'm thinking, would that really happen? I mean, would you? I suppose it depends on the person, but is that just trying to add to the fact that they're making something that hasn't really been seen before, like with these pornos and stuff, and she's just, oh my God, what have I just seen? I need to do that. I just thought that was a bit of a weird moment, especially with a boyfriend just sitting there directing the damn thing.
I feel like the sort of through line of all three of these movies, sort of one of many sort of messages that Ty West is trying to say in these films, is that people will do anything for fame.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's seen them doing it, having a good time. The director's convinced her, you know, this is going to be the next big thing. People are spending money on this, and she's like a little timid character in this, isn't she? Like a little quiet. What did they call it? Like baby mouse or something in it?
Yeah, church mouse.
Something like that, church mouse or something. Yeah. But yeah, it is weird. But it's like, only because it's just, I look at Jenny Ortega and I just see it like a little teenage girl. I'm like, oh, I don't like it when she's getting all sort of seedy.
Yeah. I love it as well when like the guy who's playing the director, the cameraman, he pulls him outside and goes, "You can't let this happen," and he goes, "She's got to do it anyway," and he's just thinking, "Yeah, another actress in my movie." doesn't care about their relationship or anything. But yeah, X is a great start to the trilogy. I absolutely love it. We'll probably do a very quick ranking at the end as well, just very quickly, and I'll tell you where that one comes. But yeah, that is X. So yeah, great start to Ty West trilogy there, and then he announced that there's going to be another one coming 6 months down the line. And when I seen the trailer for this one, Paul Pearl, my mind was blown. I was like, oh, holy shit, this is just going to be amazing. I love the whole look of it and stuff. And what I will say on this rewatch, when that first scene opens and you see the farmhouse and it's so colourful and white, I'm like, have I just seen that same house in the movie before? And I knew I had, but it just looks so different. Like the visual style of this film is unbelievable. Like I said on Twitter, it kind of reminds me of if the start of The Wizard of Oz was in colour and it was a horror movie, it would feel like this for me personally. But I've got quite a bit to say about Pearl, mate. But what were your initial thoughts after seeing this one?
Yeah, just learning that it was a prequel, and just thought, and I watched. This is new information I learned after rewatching the movie, and I quickly shoved on the X special features, the extras, sort of the making of, afterwards, because I hadn't watched it previously. And the idea for this film come whilst they were filming X, and Mia Goth and Ty West got together and go, we've got something here where I wonder, you know, they started spitballing ideas about the character of Pearl and where she comes from and stuff, and that developed into a script, which then developed into this movie. So it's weird. Like I don't. It feels like it was pre-planned, but I don't. From what they said in that interview, I was like, well, was it pre-planned, or have you just done this off the back of the movie? I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was just for Pearl, for me, it's just a great idea for a prequel where you go back and explore the killer. And the fact that we see Mia Goth just as herself without the prosthetics is just another genius idea, because we're now sort of seeing her as three characters. We've seen her as Maxine Minx, we've seen her as Old Pearl, and now we're seeing her as Young Pearl. And all three of them are slightly different. Like Young Pearl is very different to Old Pearl, and Young Pearl is very similar to Maxine. So it's all these different layers of character work she's doing, and she's on fire in this film. This is my best performance of Mia Goth's is Pearl. She's just absolutely on fire. This is the movie where I took notice of Mia Goth. I was like, I'm going to watch everything this girl's in from now until whenever. It was a very juxtapositioned to X in a way where just the tone's completely different. Like I said, Ty West takes inspiration from different eras of horror in all three of these films. I felt with this one, it was like a Hitchcockian sort of character study. Very technicolor, like you said. It's a very bright movie. The score's very reminiscent of like TBS 20s movies, that like sort of highbrow sort of music. The sort of the screen wipes and the opening and closing of the screen and just from transitions and stuff like that is all somewhat reminiscent to like 1920s movies. It's a bit more. I feel it's, even though it's got some brutal kills in it, I think it's a bit tamer than X. I think out of the three, X is the brutal one, and I feel like Pearl was a bit tamer. I believe X was a 18 cert. I think Pearl's only a 15. So yeah, it's not going to be as violent. But yeah, I just love it. I just think it was a great idea to piggyback off your one movie and do a sort of character study prequel of where your killer in one movie come from, and it was told in such a great way. And again, it's you can tell Ty West is a fan of movies in this film, just the way Pearl, Mia Goth's character Pearl, goes to like the cinema and she wants to be a movie star, and she meets the David Corenswet's character. I think he's just called the Projectionist. I think that's what he's cast as. And he's telling her about movies. It's just a beautiful film to watch. And again, it's quite a slow burn, but once it hits that bit, once that first kill comes, it just doesn't stop then until the end. Great prequel. It's not very often I can say great prequel, but Pearl is an incredible prequel. Yeah.
I was actually thinking what my favourite horror prequels were, and I thought there's not many better than Pearl when you think about it. But this, I think you've said it all, mate. I agree with everything you said there. But I think this is definitely more of a character study, if you like. Like, I know both of these films take place in the one location mostly. I know she goes to town a few times and stuff, but it's mostly on the farmhouse, isn't it? But this one just feels like a more linear film because I think there's so many good characters in X. This one just more focuses on Pearl, and I feel like it seems like a smaller scale movie, but it does work to its benefit still. This is definitely a best performance, like you said, mate. Some of the incredible moments she has in this film. She can just switch it up from being this sweet, innocent girl to an absolute psychopath in the click of a finger.
Yeah,
she does some great monologues in this movie. Like she does one great monologue, should I say? I was looking at my Blu-ray player. I was thinking this has gone on for like 5 minutes. This now, where she's just talking. I think her friends in the room with her, but you just focuses on her on the camera. And also later on, the end credit scene, I've got to say as well, it's a great moment where she's just like, that was improvised. I heard where she's
it's great. You can see the agony in her face when she's doing it. It's crazy, but it goes on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but what I will say, one of the best examples of where she can just switch it up is where at the very start of the film, she's just like this sweet girl living on a farmhouse. She's like, "Hello, Charlie," to a horse, and she goes, "How did you get in here, Mr. Goose?" And then she just sort of goes over and stabs him with the feeds it to the alligator one.
One of my favourite parts in it, where she literally just goes off on one, is when she's got the projectionist who, she's trying to sort of swoo the projectionist, and she brings him into the farmhouse. And he's like, "I've got to go," and she just snaps on him. She's like, "No, why don't you like me?"
What did I do? Just tell me. And I think Ty West, like, he's got some great shots in these movies with the camera and stuff. And one of the best moments for me is where a friend is getting a little bit wary of it, kind of like David Corenswet was. A friend, she knows she's got the part, and she's like, "Okay, I'm just going to get out of here." And she's walking out of the house, and she's looking back a little bit going, "Is she going to come out of the house?" And next minute she goes with that axe, and it's all like in the kind of one shot.
Yeah,
absolutely love that. It's just like, I think someone described it as a technicolor fueled nightmare. I mean, the way of describing just the way the film's made and everything. What I like about this as well, I know, like you said, you watch the actors as well, but they said they came up with the idea while they were making X. But I know she's a bit crazy in this movie anyway, but it does show why Pearl is a little bit more pissed off in X, and she just wants to kill all these people because they're trying to make it, and her chance was taken away from her by her mother, really, because her mother in this film, man, she's just an asshole, isn't she? Couldn't stand their character. Great acting, but just could not stand their character whatsoever. And it just felt like Pearl knows she's missed her chance, and these younger generation that are coming, she's kind of jealous of them. And I didn't really think about that the first 2 times I watched it, but on these rewatches, I thought that connected really well. So
yeah, it's sort of giving you. It's a very thin line. It's a very fine line you have to run with a horror villain when you sort of give them reason why they're doing it. Because if you do it to a point where now I'm rooting for them and I want them, then you've got sort of an anti-hero. They did it with Jigsaw in Saw, where in the first film, like, this guy's fucking crazy, and then they sort of give him all this backstory about losing his kid and all this stuff, and then you're like, oh, I feel a bit sorry for this guy. But they do it very well in between Pearl and X, where you feel for her, but she's still an absolute psychopath. Like the things have gone wrong for her, but that doesn't take away that she's still an absolute nutcase.
Yeah, her mum sort of says as well, doesn't she, through the film, like, that you're not right in the head, there's something wrong with. So maybe she's done stuff growing up there that her mum's noticed, and she's trying to keep her at bay a little bit. But I do think her mother is very heavy-handed in this film. One moment in this as well, man. I forgot all about it when I rewatched it, but I thought, I was like on the edge of my seat going, what the fuck could have happened here? You know, where she was tilting her dad into the crocodile sort of pond.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for him.
It's the bit where she's like squeezing his throat and stuff, and like, this poor guy is like a vegetable, and you're just absolutely terrorizing your dad.
Is that where she was in the bath and she's like, is anyone in there?
Yeah, just strangling him. He's like tear rolling down his eyes. He can't do nothing.
He can't move, but you can tell he's terrified.
Yeah. I love it when she sets her mum on fire. She's just and it just boots her down the cellar, like boots her down.
Great, isn't it, man? It just shows like she will do anything for the fame, won't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Before we move on to MaXXXine, that moment as well where she does that dance. Like, I was just waiting to watch she had done, and she just done this crazy little dance. I thought that was funny. And I love the way the guy goes, she went, that's the best dancing I've ever done. He goes, yes, it was very nice.
Yeah. What was good about that scene is when I watched like the making of it, like how they put that scene together, that dancing scene. It looked very how they've done it's very clever, but how they got the shot and put it all together looked very difficult to do. So that was interesting.
There's all sorts going on in the background, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think I've got too much more to say on X, Paul. Have you anything else?
I've got it's just Pearl. It's just a great horror prequel, and we just do not get them that often. It's just I think it's just a genius idea where you go back and tell the story if you kill it from one movie, but they do it in such a way where it doesn't humanize them. It's just giving you sort of it's just a nice companion piece to a movie. They just work so well together, and just a great movie. I haven't really got much negatives to say for any of these films, but I've got no negatives for Pearl. I think it's another fantastic horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an ambitious trilogy, what he's accomplished here, and he nailed it, in my opinion. Well, I won't talk too quickly about that, because we're going to talk about MaXXXine now, but yeah, that is Pearl, everyone. So I really enjoyed rewatching that. I give it 3.5 on my letterbox when I first watched it, but I bumped it up to a 4 now, so it's definitely improved for me. Really enjoyed it. We are going to talk about the latest film in this franchise now. We might go into spoilers and everything, guys. So, this is another spoiler one there, just to let you know. But, Paul, I went and seen this yesterday. I haven't stopped thinking about it all day. And to be honest, I haven't stopped thinking about the whole trilogy all day. But I think a good sign of when you watch a movie and it's still stuck in your head, like, later on. I mean, I'll still probably be thinking about it tomorrow. I think that's a sign of a great movie. It happened with Dune 2 for me. It happened with Furiosa. And it's kind of happening the same with this film. There's so many movies I watch that I just watch and go, oh, that was fine, and then move on to the next one. But this one is like, I really want to go back and rewatch it again. So if you haven't guessed, I loved it. There was a lot riding on this one. I was trying to balance my expectations, especially I've seen a few early reviews saying, oh, it's not great. IGN give it like a 5 out of 10, even though I do try to. Yeah, I try to ignore IGN these days because there's so many things I disagree with them. Of course, it is the writer's opinion, but they just seem to get a lot that don't really resonate with me with their scores. But that was a little bit of a red flag, I must admit, even though I don't take them too seriously. But no, man, this lived up to expectations for me. I thought this was fantastic. Before I say like any more, Paul, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, leading up to it, I was super hyped for this movie, just purely down to the trailer and the marketing to it. I love my horror films, but my bread and butter of horror movies is the 80s horror, whether it be slashers, sort of crime thrillers, anything. Just the aesthetic of 80s just screams to me, just shouts home to me. So when the trailer came out for this and it was set in the 80s, sort of like this neo-noir, sort of dingy back end of Hollywood, where it's not the glam and glitz of Hollywood, it's sort of like the what's the word I'm looking for, sort of like the dark side the dark side of America and Hollywood and the movie industry. It was right on my street, and just bringing MaXXXine back, I wanted to see where her character goes. It's set like I think like X is 79 and this goes into like, is it 84, 85, is it?
84, 85, yeah.
So it's like 5-6 years. Is it? So it's like 5 or 6 years after X. So, and showing us where his character is. But yeah, super hyped walking into this film. The reviews, I did see a couple of mixed reviews, but then I also seen a lot of, I didn't see any negative ones. It was sort of mixed and then really positive ones. But what I will say is that why this film worked for me so well, it all depends on what type of horror you're into. So if you're into the grindhouse scene, the 70s, Texas Chainsaw, all that sort of exploitive grindhouse sort of movies, X is going to speak to the most. If you're into your Hitchcockian sort of character study, them sort of movies, the 50 like Psycho, stuff like that, Pearl's going to talk to you. If you're into your 80s crime thriller slashes, MaXXXine's going to talk to you, and that's what I'm into. So this was the one I was most looking forward to out of all three.
Yeah, I mean, he's just captured the decade perfectly, hasn't he? But we usually see the 80s as a fun time and stuff, and like you said, it's the more dark side to it, isn't it? And I just thought, like, LA looks so dangerous. Like every corner you turn looked like something bad was going to happen. I think it was genius putting Richard Ramirez in the background just to show that there's always this sense of danger. Like I watched The Night Stalker on Netflix, Paul. Don't know if you watched that one.
I did. Yeah.
So people in that documentary were terrified of a knife, thinking he was going to come into the house and stuff. I think it gets that feel that it's like only the strong are going to survive here. And Maxine Minx is a very strong character in this movie. I think that's why it sort of works out for her a lot, especially towards the end of the movie and stuff. Because it's like, she's got to go through the sort of hell to get there, really. But yeah, I love the feel of like the giallo sort of flavor there. I haven't seen a lot of giallos, but I've seen enough to say, like, when you see that guy going to watch it on the stage and the black gloves are there and he's squeezing, that is enough to say that's out the giallo pocketbook, isn't it? Did you get them giallo vibes?
Yeah, like I'm the same as you. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm versed in all giallo, but I know what I'm looking for and I know what they were trying to do. The leather gloves, the sort of, even down to like some of the music cues and stuff was very giallo, like dun dun dun, all that sort of stuff. It was like I said, it was borrowing a lot of it. It was like a crime thriller, part slasher, part giallo. It had all these sort of intricate nuances and sort of just pulling from different threads of horror. So I was picking up on loads.
Yeah. And I won't just mention the killer yet, but a lot of people are saying they thought this was so obvious who the killer was going to be. I personally didn't guess it. Did you?
I did,
All
but
right.
not
Okay.
before seeing the film. There was nothing. It was nothing specifically the film did to give it away. I was just sat there and I was thinking, I was just at a point in the film. I was like, I wonder who it's going to be. I wonder who the killer's going to be. And then my head just called back to the start of the film where it had that bit where you see Minnie, young MaXXXine getting filmed, and then because I recently rewatched X and there was callbacks to who the killer is in that, you see them now and again on the TV screen and stuff. I sort of just pieced it together in my head to a point where when it was revealed, I was sat in the cinema. It was an early screening, so there was only about 6 people in there. I was just sat there, just dead smug and proud of myself. Like, I'm rubbish at guessing killers. Yeah, when I'm watching Scream and them sort of films, I'm rubbish at guessing who it is. But I guessed it wasn't it, so I was dead proud of myself.
No, I am. I'm terrible at it, mate.
Yeah.
I can count on one hand the amount of films I've guessed. I mean, I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I was quite happy about that, but maybe that's just my dumb ass. I don't know. But obviously Mia Goth is amazing in this movie once again. Definitely, I still think Pearl's the strongest performance out of 3, but she is excellent in this. I absolutely love the start of the movie where she goes, you all might as well go home because I fucking nailed that. I was laughing my ass off. She just look. What I will say, Paul, right? I think this is a really good comparison. Personally, I think what has happened to her character in these movies as Maxine Minx, she's getting propelled forward. She's becoming a star. It's actually happening to Mia Goth in real life because of these 3 films. And I know she was around before that. She's been in plenty of stuff. But this one has made her a star, I feel, this trilogy. And it's such a, what you call it, where she can relate to that character so much, obviously without all the bloodshed and stuff.
Like sort of like life imitating art, sort of.
Yeah, it's just so strange the way it's come about for her. And you know what, man? Like, I know she's been touted to be the villain in the new Blade movie and stuff, but everyone's going to want her in their films now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we're going to see a lot of her in the next few years, big time. She's just she's to me now. I don't say she's a household name. She is in this house because I don't shut up about her. My missus gets annoyed because I'm constantly talking about her. I'm like watching videos about her on YouTube and that. But she's certainly cemented in my eyes as being the next sort of it. Same with like Jenny Ortega, just like the next sort of horror. The next generation of horror stars. And she's come out and said, she doesn't want to get typecast to that, but she's wearing it proud that she, she's so well known now in the horror community, in the horror community, the horror movie fans have embraced her. Like I said, I will watch this woman in everything she's in now. I don't care. It doesn't even have to be horror, but I will. Anytime I see Mia Goth on a poster or her name on a poster, I'm checking it out.
Yeah, I mean, I am a massive horror fan, but I'm also a massive movie fan. And if she was in some, I don't know, action film with Tom Cruise or something, I don't know, whatever, I would still be hyped for it just because she's in it. I'm the same as you now. I'll probably watch everything she's in. I just think she's got so much talent. She was great in Infinity Pool as well. But I just want to mention, because we're on the characters here, Kevin Bacon is absolutely unbelievable in this film. I think this is top 3 Kevin Bacon performances for me. I'm not even joking when I say that. Every single scene he was in, I was just like, oh my God, I want more of this guy. I mean, I love the accent and the dialogue that was coming out of him, the sleazy look he has.
Yeah.
He's just the ultimate piece of shit, isn't he? But he's a piece of shit that you just can't help but like him. So what did you think of Kevin Bacon in this one?
Mate,
I knew he was in it, but I thought he was so surprising.
Fantastic, mate. The ultimate sleazeball. I love these sort of characters. Just it's like a callback to Saul from Breaking Bad. Just the ultimate sleazy character, and they're always fun to watch. And they're just how they slime the way around the story and stuff like that. He was great in it. I can't believe I've watched Kevin Bacon in 2 great roles over the course of 1 week, and he was obviously in Beverly Hills Cop 4 Axel Foley as well, and I thought he was really good in that as well.
I still haven't seen that yet,
because we're being from the UK, we're so used to seeing him in just the EE phone adverts that you don't.
Yeah.
I thought like his film sort of days were done, and then within a week he's popped up in 2 films and been great in both of them. Yeah, great sort of like one of the villains of the movie. I love the scene where he's following her and filming her, and she just gets out of the car and just keys and the knuckles and just absolute beats shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, he was just like he does steal the show. As good as Mia Goth is in this movie, he steals the show. I want to say as well, another great performance. I thought, like, spoilers here, guys. Everyone, I'm just gonna say, I don't know. I forgot the actor's name. I was trying to look it up on Letterboxd, but I don't think he's actually billed in the cast. Maybe for spoilers or something. But you know, the guy who plays Mia Goth's dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will quickly see if I can find it. Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah. I thought, like, me and my wife were looking at each other with virtually every line of dialogue he had, and we were just laughing our ass off about how over the top this reveal is. The way he's like, he goes, you know, I can take this demon out of you, and it'll be the climax of the movie. Great. I absolutely loved him for the small screen time he got there. What did you think about that whole reveal and his performance in general?
Yeah, so this is part of what I've read after the fact when I started going through reviews, what people are saying. Like the third act, the sort of reveal, is sort of the make and break of the movie for people. Because I sort of guessed it and it was true, turned out to be true. I just enjoyed it more because I had got it right. Like I said, I had a bit of a smugness to myself. So the third act, for people, I've seen loads of comparisons people have said with this film to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is prevalent, and then them comparisons are there. It's sort of like a pocket of time in Hollywood when some bad shit was happening, and we're just sort of following the characters in this time period. But for me, I don't know why I kept getting these feelings. I just kept on thinking to sort of Grand Theft Auto and the sort of satirical way that Grand Theft Auto depicts some of their characters. And his character and his sort of cultists at the end just felt straight ripped out of like a Grand Theft Auto side mission or something. And I was like, and it was so over the, like the film itself is quite campy and sort of you know, satirical through it, but then that third act hit and it just ramped up the satire to a point where, and I don't want to keep making the same comparison, but it did feel like the sort of the final act you would see in a Tarantino film where bodies were just getting blown away and people were just getting killed, and it was great. And you know, the guy who played her dad was just chewing up the scenery, and I was just having a great time with that whole final act. Like it was up on the, you know, the Hollywood Hills and stuff like that, so the Hollywood sounds in the background. There was just these cultists just going nuts, and I was just sat there going, "This is fucking crazy," but I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people complain about the third act. I thought it was the best part of the films. For
I
me
loved
personally.
it.
Yeah, I just had so much fun with that last like 20 minutes. Thought it was great, and you're all right, mate. It definitely just knows what it's doing there. You know, with the satire and stuff. I think it just goes, yeah, fuck it, we're doing this. But yeah, I want to say as well, how good was the soundtrack in this film? Because you know the Kevin Bacon when he's looking for Mia Goth in that nightclub. I just thought that music, like this is just one example, but the music fits what Ty West is filming so well, and it happened in so many other scenes as well. He puts on film something to go with the soundtrack perfectly, I think, and there's some great tracks here. I mean, I think 80s films or movies set in the 80s have got to have great soundtracks anyway, and this one was no exception, I thought.
Yeah, the score and soundtrack, the same guy, I think his name's Tyler Bates, and he scored all 3 of the movies, and so he's had to take inspiration from 3 genres of horror, sort of like how Ty West took it for the direction. He's done it for the music, and it's, you know, even, and I said this in sort of my Letterboxd review, even to a point in this movie where the soundtrack's banging. The soundtrack, it's just 80s, and it's not sort of on the nose 80s songs that you normally hear the same ones and all. It's like there were quite some deep cut 80s tunes, but I've been listening to the soundtrack and the score since Friday. But the score is fantastic. It's got. I said in my Letterboxd review of this film, there was a bit in this film where the two police characters, the
Yeah.
rolled up to like MaXXXine's house, or rolled up on a dead body or something like that, and they got out of the car, and like this sleazy saxophone music was playing, and it's so, you know, like in Lethal Weapon when they see a dead body and that like saxophone plays, and it's sort of like sleazy cop crime thriller music, and I was like, I was just grinning listening to it. I was like, that is so on the nose, but it's genius that they've done it, because it's, like I say, it's wearing its inspirations on its sleeve, and it's so prevalent that that's what Tyler Bates has done with his score, that he's taken all he's gone and watched all these sort of crime thriller 80s movies and just pulled all this sort of music from it to create the score for this. So the music's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Paul, you get me wanting to go and watch it again now, mate. I was going to say, what was I going to say then? It was about, so what I think is good about, like, it's going back to the story a little bit here now, but what I think, I don't know if this is a bit of social commentary or like his way of saying this is what really happens to people on, like, when they get like fame, or sort of they go viral or whatever. But I feel like every time someone makes it big in the world or something, people online or whatever will bring that person down, and will try and bring something up from the past that they've done, to sort of, out of maybe spite or jealousy, I don't know. But I feel like he kind of done this in a different way. With MaXXXine is on the brink of getting landing the starring role in this movie. I forgot the name of the movie, by the way. But she is basically trying to get brought down by people who know her background and stuff. And I thought Ty West done well with that, to resonate to people that it happens to in real life. Did you feel that, or was that just me?
Yeah, no, that's a like I said, all three of these films have got that sort of vibe of trying to make it big and wanting to make it big, and sort of like the backlash of it, and sort of the bad side of it. And yeah, you're right in this. You know, she wants to make it big. She wants to forget her past. She's all, even from X, you know, she wants to be a movie star. It doesn't matter what she's doing. She just wants to be famous. I want to be famous. I want to be a movie star. That sort of fucking, you're a fucking movie star. And yeah, throughout this film, there's people trying to bring her down. There's her dad's sort of trying to unveil her past that he knows about and stuff like that. And once that final third act hits, and it's just her taking charge, like, no, you won't bring me down. I'm gonna be the fucking movie star I want to be.
Yeah, I love all that, man. She's just so determined, and she's just like a strong-willed character. We'll wrap it up in a minute, Paul, but I just want to sort of mention a bit of the gore in this movie. Now, males will probably be able to resonate with this a little bit more, but there was one scene in this film, man, that kind of had a bit of an American History X feel to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I fucking winced, did you?
Yeah, yeah, and it's full on the screen for you to see. Like, it's not like a camera cut. It's there, and I just went, oh.
Yeah, and then didn't you say something like, the last person who tried to kill me, I crushed their fucking skull?
Yeah. No, the kills are really good. The thing, correct me if I'm wrong, there is only on screen 2 kills in this movie. It's her friend, who's a great character, by the way. I liked his sort of video store and his sort of video. Whenever there's that sort of character in any sort of movie, where the movie fan character, that's the dude in it. Like, so he was great.
Just quickly, when he gets killed, I love that shot as well, where the blood sprayed on the VHS tapes. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I could probably get that picture, print it off, and put it on the wall. Like, awesome. Yeah, so the kills in this film, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm forgetting it. There's 2. There's him, when it's that very giallo kill with oh my god, that one on the back of the neck. Do that. Oh my god, that made me wince. And the car crush kill.
Yeah. Which I was very upset about, because I thought, there's no more of him in this film.
Yeah. But apart from that, all the other kills are sort of off screen, or it's sort of edited to where you don't actually see it happening. Obviously, the girls are all getting sort of invited to this party, and obviously when they get in there, they're getting killed by this cult, and they're filming it and that, but you don't actually see them kill them. So as much as how violent this film is, this is probably one of my only sort of negative with the film. It's not as, and with it being an 18 cert as well, the same as X, I thought the kills, even though they were brutal, there wasn't as many as I thought there was going to be. Maybe because it's that third act just goes batshit crazy and bodies are flying everywhere. But in terms of sort of like slasher kills, there's not that many in it.
No, you're right, man. Now that you mention it, because I'm just like remembering some of the blood and gore in the third act, especially when someone's head gets blown into pieces. But you're right there, mate. To be honest, but just quickly on that car crush kill. I love the way he says he's an atheist. The next minute he's like, "Hail Mary, full."
I loved how I'm never going to be able to pronounce his name. Gus from Breaking Bad. I can never pronounce his name. How cool was he in this film? What a hairpiece that was. What a hairpiece that. He was so cool. And I just loved how he was like, get yourself off, and then just lit a cigar in the junkyard watching Kevin Bacon get crushed.
He's kind of like a bit of a goofy character at first, but then fucking hell, he's getting shit done, isn't he? I think you can just see the potential in Mia Goth and how much money she's gonna make. But yeah, man. Great film. I just want to say my one little irk with it is when that actually happened, where she blew his head off, and the helicopter's above saying drop the gun and stuff. And it goes to a month later, and I'm like, is there no repercussions at all?
Yeah,
this guy was
exactly. I thought I was like, surely that helicopter's seeing a dude blow a dad's head off.
So
I thought exact same thing.
Yeah, like a career would probably stall, or bring it that, or she'd go to jail or something. But no, it's just like, oh, we'll forget that. I just thought that was a little bit of a frustrating end. A little bit. I didn't hate the ending or anything, but that one thing just didn't kind. I'm probably picking plot holes here and being nitpicky, but.
No, it is. No, that is a very. I noticed it straight away because it sort of ends, and then it does that sort of thing that I know you don't like with the Joker, where it's got that perfect ending bit, and then it tacks on a little bit at the end with the 1 month later bit, and then showing you where she is. And then I was like, "What? She's not no repercussions for blowing some guy's head off, where a police helicopter's obviously watching her do it." So I did pick up on that.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up in a minute, Paul, because I said I would only keep you for like an hour at most. But I just want to quickly mention this bit as well. I like the way they go to the Bates Motel, but it's not just used as like a gimmick. They really use it to show Mia Goth as just having a troubled past with Pearl in the window. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, man. But Norman Bates in the movie, his mother is actually sitting in that window. And this time it's Pearl, who's again an old woman. And I just thought that was genius. That was just such a great moment.
I believe that set's there as well. I don't think it was made for the movie. I think it's just there on the lot of the Universal lot. So they just used it.
I think I've heard people say they went to it and stuff when they went to Universal and stuff. So I think it was still there. Yeah,
just a great touch. Just a great touch having the Psycho house in it, because the film Psycho is such an inspiration for these films. You can tell.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've kind of got to say on MaXXXine, Paul. Have you got anything else? I mean, I could probably sit here all day and talk about it if I wanted, but we'll probably wrap it up in a minute. But anything else to say on MaXXXine?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to rank them after the fact, but in terms of the film itself, I just thought it was a great ending to the trilogy, and I think this trilogy is a modern horror classic, and I think it'll go down as a modern horror classic. I think people are going to be talking about these films for a good while, and I hope in a few years, because they're still not mainstream. There's still plenty of people out there who haven't seen them. I hope the word of mouth just gets round and more people will get onto these films, because they are excellent horror films, and it's not very often you can say that with horror movies, that they are excellent. But you've got this dude Ty West has just made 3 back to back.
Yeah, I agree. I talk about this. I talk about films to this guy in work. I mean, he's not like me and you, like where we know not know everything, but we're in the movie space, you know what I mean? But he watches a film virtually every night, and he hasn't even heard of X and Pearl, to be honest. So I've said, look, give them a watch. He sometimes goes to cinema as well, and he's like, "Oh, start MaXXXine a third part and stuff." So even for someone who's watching a lot of films, he hasn't seen them. So I get what you're saying there, mate. He has. This is such a treat for horror fans. I think this trilogy is such a unique treat. I'm glad we've got them, and I really can't wait to watch them all again. I really can't.
I cannot wait for it to come out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, and I've heard it's actually getting a 4K release as well today. I seen that, so I probably will grab that. But I'm kind of going to wait till that comes out. I'm going to rewatch them again. But I've just been thinking about this trilogy. Well, the first two all week, and then this now trilogy. I've been thinking about it all day. But yeah, it's a great conclusion. I think my next question, because it's been rumored, and I believe Ty West has got an idea. Do you want a fourth film, or are you happy with this to end now?
It's a double-edged sword. If they tell me there's a fourth one coming, I'll be there opening night. Do I want one at this present moment? No. I think when you're riding a high, go off into the sunset, because the fourth one might derail it. It might not. It might be the best one out of the lot. But when you've got a trilogy like that, and it, look at like Lord of the Rings, and then he come and did The Hobbit, and it derailed it. Look at Star Wars. You got that original trilogy, and then he did more, and it sort of derailed it. Like when you've got, look at perfect trilogy. Look at Back to the Future. Perfect trilogy. Doesn't need to ever be touched ever again. Doesn't need to be remade. No sequels. And I feel the same with these. You've got three distinctly unique films that all work together to tell one story, and you've got three very different horror films, but they're all part of the same set. You don't need to make another one. But if they do, they've got an idea, I'll be there opening night.
MaXXXine in the 90s, maybe.
That's it. But that's it. Like once they go to the 90s, then you're sort of going into just eras like I've grew up in. So I like seeing eras like I missed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe we'll get one of Howard in the war or something.
I would watch that. To be fair, even though I think Pearl made him the nut. He wasn't a nutcase until he met her.
Oh yeah, I think he's just scared of it, really. Wasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Thanks so much for coming on, Paul. This is probably in.
No, yeah.
I'll let you go first, mate, seeing as you're the guest.
Yeah. So at my current, I've got them ranked and I love all these films, by the way. This not one's crap, I love all three. But if I had to rank them, I've got Pearl 3, X2, and MaXXXine number 1. I think MaXXXine is the one I'll rewatch the most. If somebody who's had all three of them on Blu-ray and come up to me and go, "Oh, do you fancy watching one of these? Which one do you want to watch?" I feel like I'll constantly go MaXXXine because it's just the one that just taught to me the most.
And I think as well, Paul, what's great about this trilogy when you're saying that, like, which one do you want to? You can watch any of these, I think, at any time. I don't think you have to watch X and then Pearl. I could go and watch Pearl now easily. I think it'd be fine. So yeah. That's the great thing about this trilogy as well, mate. And obviously, I could go and watch MaXXXine easy enough without watching the other two. But yeah, man, slightly different. I'm going to go Pearl last, just because I think it's a bit of a smaller scale film. I'm going to go MaXXXine second, and obviously I'm going X first, because X grew even more on rewatch for me. But I do think there's room there for MaXXXine to go into first. Maybe on rewatch, it'll change a little bit. I'm not sure yet, but it is a razor edge between them two. So yeah, Pearl, MaXXXine, X. That's my reckon. So just very slightly different, mate. But yeah, I think in 20 years, this is going. If he makes no more, especially, this is going to be a horror masterpiece to many people. I mean, to me, it kind of already is, but I think people are going to look back on these movies and go, "Do you know this Ty West guy made a trilogy? You got to watch it." I might go and watch Cabin Fever 2 now because Ty West made that movie, and I just want to watch some more Ty West horror films. I've got a feeling it's going to be an underrated gem.
Have you watched House of the Devil?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
you have seen that. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good sort of directional debut. That's a very 80s one as well.
Yeah. So if any viewers out there haven't seen House of the Devil, definitely get on that if you like these movies. I think they're the only ones I've seen by Ty West. So I might check a few more of his films out now. But Paul, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Welcome,
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting to talk about these movies all weekend. I have been talking about these movies all weekend. So anytime I can talk to people like-minded about these movies, you've got my attention. I'll be there every time. But yeah, great catching up with you. We haven't done one of these in a while. I always love talking horror films with you, and you know, these are 3 of our favorite new horror films. So it's been fun sort of breaking them down, talking about them with you.
Yeah. All right, mate. Thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Sorry, it went to the hour mark. I was going to try and keep it about 45 minutes there, but an hour, not too bad. It flew over. So yeah, thanks so much, everyone, for watching this video. If you want to see my MaXXXine review, it'll be down below in the link. I'm also going to have a Trilogy ranked video where I go into a little bit more depth over X and Pearl as well. So don't forget to check that out. And yeah, thanks so much, guys. I'll see you all on the next video or whatever that may be. So thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you later. Thanks for coming on, Paul.
Take it easy. No worries. Take it easy.